Our top story tonight, the weekend-long Crush Reloaded event is now underway with thousands of visitors pouring into the Coastal Empire for the start of the festivities. A welcome party is already in full swing right now as organizers and law enforcement work to keep everyone safe. WSAV's Isabella Baez with more.
Students have made their way to the Coastal Empire for Crush Reloaded, coming from all across Georgia and some out of state as they kick their weekend off with a welcome party. Founder of Crush Reloaded, Stephen Small, says this welcome party is a warm-up for this weekend. He is handing out tickets and all-access passes. Small says the event was made possible with the help from a variety of different people, including Tybee City leaders and law enforcement. He says he is expecting to have more than 30,000 attendees this weekend. And with the influx of people, there will be an influx of law enforcement and even several road closures throughout Savannah, including Congress, Jefferson, and parts of Montgomery.
We're here to make sure they're safe. That's why we're out here at the end of the day. We're here to make sure they're safe and they're able to have fun without any issues disturbing that.
The party is also continuing tomorrow on Tybee Island, and you can hear about how the event affects traffic and parking on WSAV News 3 at 10 and 11. Reporting in Savannah, I'm Isabella Baez, WSAV News 3 on your side.
New at 6, a former Wayne County high school teacher is under arrest accused of having an improper relationship with a student. The GBI says the 24-year-old Courtney Shaver has been charged with 2 counts of improper sexual contact by an employee. Investigators say the case began back in January after a report alleging Shaver was having a sexual relationship with a 17-year-old student while she taught science at Wayne County High. Officials say there is no indication of any contact or that the contact took place on school property. She was placed on administrative leave and later resigned from her position. The GBI says that she was taken into custody at her home today and booked into the Wayne County Jail. The Georgia State Patrol assisted in that arrest. The Georgia Department of Public Safety is responding after allegations that some troopers were making money off of pit maneuvers. The agency says 4 troopers are now out of a job. State officials say the investigation started back in January after concerns were raised about troopers filing personal injury claims following pursuits. According to the department, those troopers submitted a large number of crash and incident reports to an attorney who then sought financial settlements from the drivers involved in those cases. All 4 have since been fired. The department says these incidents do not represent the agency as a whole and emphasized its commitment to accountability and public trust. Officials have not released the names of the troopers involved, and it's unclear whether any criminal charges might also follow. A follow-up now. This morning, some Rincon residents found themselves stuck as a train blocked the only entrance to their neighborhood. It's been a frustration that has dragged on for years, raising concerns about access and emergency response. Now city leaders say a long-awaited solution is finally in place. WSAV's Isley Herschel shows us how it worked when it mattered most.
This road right behind me was the only way in and out of the picket fence subdivision for years. Now there's a new way out, and it's just down the street. This new emergency access entrance has been completed and ready to use since January of this year. Now, if a train is blocking the main entrance, this is the alternative. Rincon's mayor, Kevin Exley, tells me these issues with the train normally come about in the summertime when the heat gets more intense. The fire chief was on scene this morning and says residents were happy to get out of the subdivision despite the train issues.
It feels good that the city created something that we were able to use and access and be able to fund and bring the community together in a way that not many people could as of before today, because the trains have always been an issue here, and today it wasn't a fact.
The Rincon mayor tells me this pathway only took about 90 days to build. It ended up costing the city less than $1 million for a new way out of the subdivision. In Rincon, Isley Herschel, WSAV News 3, on your side.
Despite strong opposition from some residents, the Glynn County Commission has approved new zoning ordinances that would allow for the construction of data centers. County leaders say they have not received any proposals to build them, but want to take a proactive stance in case of future interest. Opponents worry about the enormous amount of energy and water that they use. Yesterday's rezoning approval happened despite a vote last month by the county's Joint Planning Commission, which recommended a 120-day moratorium to allow a working group to strengthen the ordinance. We are getting yet another look at a devastating fire that ripped through a local apartment complex. The Chatham County Fire Department has now shared this aerial video of the Georgetown Oaks apartments as they were going up in flames on Sunday. 5 people had to be rescued from those flames, including 2 small children who jumped from the 3rd floor and were caught by police officers waiting below.
Come here, come here. Come on. Hey, come on.
The children were treated for smoke inhalation but are expected to be okay. 3 other people, including a pregnant woman, were also rescued. The state fire marshal's office is still working to determine the exact cause. We're told 38 people are displaced. The Red Cross is working to assist them. If you would like information on how you can help, just go to WSAV.com. Continuing our coverage now, day 2 of play at the RBC Heritage is winding down, but there's still a lot of action ahead as we look toward the weekend. WSAV's Andrew Davis joining us now live from Harbortown on Hilton Head Island with more on the tournament.
Well, that's right, Ben. The second round is now in the books. All that's left tonight, at least in Harbortown, is the party out here. One man, though, not celebrating yet, is the key cog in everything that goes on right here at the RBC Heritage. He keeps it all going, and this is his 40th year with the tournament. We're talking about Steve Wilmot. He spent 40 years with the Heritage through name changes, sponsor drama, and dozens of winners and more. The PGA Tour golf tournament has a total economic impact in South Carolina of more than $135 million during tournament week alone, and the Heritage responsible for more than 1,100 jobs, too. It's a signature event, a premier tournament on the PGA Tour, raising millions for the Heritage Classic Foundation and all the charities that support it. The volunteers and staff who know him best say his dedication is what makes him great.
As I look around, you can replace everyone out here except for Steve. He's the most valuable link in the chain. He does it all. He knows everyone. What impresses me most about Steve is he doesn't only know the player's name, the wife's name, he knows the caddy's name, and sometimes the caddy's wife's name. And it's a phenomenal. It's his business. He lives and breathes it.
At the RBC Heritage, we like to say that plaid is the fabric of our community, but Steve Wilmot is the fabric of the RBC Heritage and our staff. But he would never admit it because he always is so positive about the staff and he never takes credit for anything. But he's he's such a great leader and a great boss, and we're so lucky to have him.
Steve talked to me yesterday, and he's not worried about the final round or anything that goes on this year. He's already thinking of next year and how to make this even better and keep it the most fan-friendly event on the PGA Tour for a second consecutive year. And while the golfers were the talk of the place, the other thing everybody was talking about was simply completely different. The fuzzy creatures that were falling on everybody. We're talking about caterpillars out here. Yes, fans said they've been seeing them everywhere, and they seem to be just appearing out of mid-thin air. But these ones aren't so cute. Actually, they're dropping and causing some painful rashes on people. Novant health officials say that's been a big issue already, the biggest one they've seen. They're treating around a dozen people a day, they said, for those rashes.
I don't know where they're coming from, but I've already had about 5 of them on me today, and we're kind of watching each other and we're flicking them off. But I do believe they are coming from the trees. So just don't touch them with your bare hand and just flick them off with your fingernail or a piece of paper.
Well, and if you do get hit by a caterpillar, Novant health officials say, well, they've got a spot at 1 and 18 to help you out. If it happens at home or someplace else, just some simple cortisone cream will help. Don't worry, it's not really that dangerous.